Hello there, and welcome to Dr. T Stage 1 for August the 14th. Yeah, I just dropped critters on the right-hand side. I know, you're sitting there going like, wait, what the hey? The reason I did that is basically I wanted to show that you should drop some of your tanks over on that right-hand side so they can clear up some of the non-defensive buildings over there, while you drop some of your tanks on the left-hand side so they can clear up non-defensive and defensive buildings on the left-hand side. And then eventually flare onto that shock launcher and do some damage to it so that you're safe to clear out this HQ. The reason it's so tricky is that HQ has 180,000 hit points, and the shock launcher might slow you enough if you're a much lower level that you can't finish it off. And I'm kind of doing the same thing on stage 2 here, where I'm flaring to where you want your tanks to end up, but you kind of want to go around where my wee critters are going and take out all those boxes and goos and all those lovely things, get all that free GBE, and then end up where I flared. Obviously, you're going to have to go around the other side from where my critters went, because that's just the mechanics of how critters work. And you'll end up roughly here, and then you can take out that sniper tower. In my case, I shocked it, crittered it, and barraged it, because you're going to have a ton of a ton of GBE from taking out all those extra boxes. Also, it hurts the HQ, which is always really nice, because when you hit stage 3, oh man, it's nasty. Stage 3 has 310,000 on the HQ, so the HQ has a buttload of hit points. Also, there is this boom cannon that has 13,000 hit points sitting right in the middle of your path for a center landing, basically. So you're going to have to use GBE to take out the boom cannon. Once you've taken out that boom cannon, flare your guys up to pretty much right where my tanks are there. And I'm showing you basically the back end of range where they're safe from the cannon on the left. And then I'm going to flare them up a little bit closer, there we go, to show you the safe zone on the right. So basically just north of that tree is where you want to end with all of your tanks, because they won't be hit from the cannon or the boom cannon on the other side, or more importantly, the level 22 cannon, which actually does more damage than any of the boom cannons on the map. One moment. Because it does over 1100 damage per second, which is crazy for a stage 3. Sorry, by the way, I'm still fighting this stupid cold. It's still doing horrible things to my chest, and this is take 27 or something crazy. I gotta power through this or I'm gonna get divorced, because we're supposed to go out. So for stage 4, I am obviously using a smoky landing. If you're landing a full complement of boats, you may have to do a little extra smoking down on the beach. Down by the beach where the watermelons grow. Anyway. Now, once you get everything up into range, throw the shock down on the 2 shock launchers and the boom cannon. I kind of let my tanks freewheel it, if you would. Like, they're just kind of firing at whatever. But if you're a lower level, like, each one of the shots from my tanks is probably equal to like a shot from 4 of your tanks. So what I would strongly suggest is use some flares to guide your tanks. Focus on one of the shock launchers first, then focus on the boom cannon, and then let them naturally take out the other shock launcher. Like, depending on how much energy you have and how long your shocks last, probably your best bet, just because you don't want to just let them freewheel it and then run out of shocks and all 3 are still standing, because they will shock lock you, and then the boom cannon will just pick your poor tanks off one at a time, and there's nothing you're going to be able to do. So by taking them out, I suggest right to left. It'll help keep your tanks a little bit safer. Also, if you do run out and there is still one shock launcher standing, honestly, that shock launcher is not going to do enough damage to really take out your tanks. It's going to slow you down, it's going to be a pain in your neck, but it's not going to kill the tanks, which is key. Anyways, let's move on to stage 5, which, you know what, isn't a lot easier. Like, stage 3 was crazy hard, stage 4 was crazy hard, stage 5 looks like it's beached. Don't believe it. This is a lie. This is like the cake. I'm telling you, the cake is a lie, so is this beaching. You think, oh great, I'm just gonna like pull right on up. Well, this boom cannon has 18,000 hit points, which I feel it's a lot for a stage 5. Like, it would be tough to work through that with GBE, which is why I landed over on the left-hand side and kind of worked my way across the beach, just gathering up a little bit, because I wanted to show that you can gather up a little bit of extra GBE to take out that boom cannon if you need it. Now, once you get over into the corner where I drop my tanks, throw one smoke, let all the tanks gather up in there, and then when they come out of the smoke, as you can see, they will nuke that sniper tower, which is key because it prevents the sniper tower from doing prolonged damage to them and gets them kind of in sync for some nice bursty arse whooping. Now, work your way around the right-hand side, and then once you clear out that sniper tower, pull them all the way down to pretty much where I've dropped them right there. They will be in range of the rocket launcher, but they're going to be out of range of both the sniper towers and the boom cannons and everything else, and they won't blow up any mines. All of these things are good. So once you get in there, you'll be able to set up. Obviously, you can land some extra troops like tanks and whatnot, just because I'm a dork, and then we can move on to stage 6. Now, Stage 6 only has 204,000 hit points on the HQ, which is awesome, but oh man, are there ever a lot of boom cannons and shock launchers. It's pretty intense. So, blow up the shock launcher over there on the right-hand side, throw down a shock, let your tanks blow up the boom cannon, and then start tossing those critters out there. Hopefully you've got them leveled up, because it's going to make your life a lot easier. If not, hopefully you got a lot of GBE, because you're going to have to use your barrage and an artillery to clear out that boom cannon on the right hand side of my screen now. I know there's 2 sitting over there, but you only have to do the 1. The good news is you're going to be throwing a shock on this closest boom cannon just to take it out, kind of get it out of the way, so you're not going to have to worry about doing that. But you're also going to want to shock the extra cannons that are down south of the HQ, or I guess southwest of the HQ, whatever, anyway. So after you've blown up the boom cannon, pull around, and your tanks are going to naturally take out that rocket launcher and the machine gun, and they're going to set up shop right here, out of range of that boom cannon, and you're going to have a nice easy cruise to a victory by blowing up the HQ. And then you'll move on to stage 7, and you'll say, wait a minute, I thought he said there were a lot of boom cannons and shock launchers on the last level. This puts that to shame. And you're absolutely correct. It does put it to shame. I think I lost track at like 7 boom cannons and 3 shock launchers, but there's probably more. Obviously, land on the right-hand side, start working on the first shock launcher and boom cannon coupling, and then move down to the next shock launcher / boom cannon coupling. Now, the good news is we actually don't have to worry about the boom cannon. We're only worried about the shock launcher. So when you're sharing artilleries, share them more towards the sniper tower, away from that boom cannon, because frankly, that boom cannon can't reach us and can't do squat. So that's alright. Then you're going to have the 2 boom cannons here. Good news is they're touching corners. Kind of like touching tips, but a little bit different. And you can throw, it's going to unfortunately take 4 artillery if you've got max artillery, but you can throw artillery and take them all out. I was hoping that throwing the critters would actually finish them off. I wanted to just test it and see. Not so lucky, so eventually kind of caved and threw that extra artillery. Now, obviously, if you don't have max artillery, you're going to have to use some barrages mixed in there just to keep the cost of things a little bit lower. But the good news is you can take out that whole 4 block, which is key, and you're going to see why that's key, aside from taking out the boom cannons, which is obviously key. So you're going to want to flare up. Try staying as far north as possible, because it prevents your tanks from kind of drifting to the south and start getting whacked by the boom cannons that we're skipping past, as well as the other 150 million defenses that are obviously chilling down there. I also started tossing some critters and shocks, and this is the key, because you shouldn't have been really using any shocks up until now. this is where your shocks come into play. With everything so tight and touching so closely, it's beautiful because you can throw your shocks right on the intersection and basically like lock out, I think it's 8 and then 2 extra, so like 12 buildings at a time from a single shock, which means in this tight cluster of everything, your shocks get incredible value per energy. They're absolutely fantastic. So throw your shocks. Obviously you want to hit as many sniper towers and cannons as possible, because sniper towers and cannons are the ones that are going to be doing all the damage. And then work yourself up into the very top right hand corner, let your cannons come down and blow some things up, and eventually you will end up just like I am, taking down Dr. T and having a great day, hopefully. Thanks for watching. Hope this has been entertaining and hope it's been educational, and have a great day.